Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever today may find you. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Paul Trani here, going to dive into today's very fun, and you can see it right below me. Hopefully you're joining me here on Behance.net, but it's all about generative fill in Photoshop. And just so you know, I'm hosting the Photoshop Compositing Challenge all this week, so Tuesday to Friday, so it's going to be super fun. Same time, same place. Feel free to say hello in chat. Afroja, I see you. Andrew, awesome. I see Annika out there. Yeah, Moni as well on YouTube. So joining me on good old Behance.net/Adobe Live. And let's get into it. So this should be really fun. I'm so glad you guys are here. Feel free to say hi, and I'll just refresh my browser to make sure everything's good. All right. So yeah, let's just jump into this, shall we? And just waiting for all chat to load. There we are. Cool. Tim, Sean, Frank, Patrick, everyone. Good to see you. Cool. Let's switch screens now. Yeah, so this might get a little weird, but let's go ahead and switch right here. Just beneath me, if you're watching this video on Behance, you can get the starter file. You can share your work on Discord, find more challenges as well. So all this good stuff. Concerning downloading Photoshop, that's the one thing I want to call out because, again, this is dealing with the Photoshop beta. But I encourage you, get the starter file. Click right there. I will show you ways to get started with Generative Fill without using the starter file, but this is the starter file I'm going to start with. Okay. Now over here it does say download Photoshop. We technically don't need Photoshop. We need the Photoshop beta. So that's where we're going to start. Yeah. And if you're new to this, let me know. Where's the coffee? The coffee is iced coffee today, and it's delicious. It's a chai spiced cold brew because I'm bougie like that. So go to your Creative Cloud desktop app right under here under beta apps. This is where you'll find the Photoshop beta. So that's what we're going to be using. That's the key thing people, the key thing you'll be looking for is the beta. It's going to be this sort of graph paper logo, if you will, that we can go ahead and open. So yeah, let's just have some fun today, shall we? Your starter files will make a fine addition to my collection. Oh yes. This is an Adobe stock file, so just keep that in mind. It's actually only a piece of it, but there you can reference it and download the sort of full image. But I also encourage you, if you're looking for starter files, you can always go to stock.adobe.com, and then just change this to free, and then get sort of all the free starter images you need. The nice thing is you really don't even need a starter file. Cause check this out. We'll go to File, New in the Photoshop beta. I'll just pick a 1000 by 1000 square, and this is Generative Fill right here. Now this Generative Fill is in this context bar. You'll also find that contextual taskbar right here under Windows. If you don't see it, there's the contextual taskbar. And there's a couple other places you can get to it. Let's unlock that. There's a couple other ways to get to it, but we'll just go this way initially. So I'm just going to select Generative Fill right here from this contextual bar, and I'll say land, wonderful like outdoor landscape with a reflective lake. We'll click generate, and we're just going to see what we get. So what I typed in there is something close to the starter file. So I can actually, again, if you don't have access to the starter file, hey, we're kind of making our own here. So Mandy is her first challenge. That's awesome. So this will be fun. So this is what it does. Based on that prompt, I use Generative Fill to create this image out of like thin air. But not only that one, there's this one, right? And I can kind of pick any one of these, which is pretty awesome. Now, let's say I want to actually change this. I might want to have outdoor mountain, because I'm missing the mountains. Outdoor mountain landscape with a reflective lake. And then click generate. And it'll put it on the same generative layer. All right. PJ, how's it going? How many folks have been playing with Firefly? Ooh, this is more like it. So this is our starter files, kind of like this. And then here's what we just created magically. Look at that. Look at that. So good. With Generative Fill. Okay. So how was this created? This was created using Adobe Firefly. So if we take a look, and since Firefly was mentioned in chat, you can go to firefly.adobe.com, and you could do the same thing in here underneath text to image. So text to image. In fact, let's do this just for fun. I'm going to copy the same prompt as it's called. That's what that text is. And then I could paste it in here and click generate, and you'll see it generate using Firefly. But this technology is what is running inside of Photoshop. Notice how it actually switched it up to art. It sometimes does that, and I'm not sure why. I need to find out. But I'm going to change this to photo. The unique thing about Firefly in the browser is you have all these other options off to the side. But look at that. We have something like this. Oh, that's nice. I could use this. Let's copy it to the clipboard. Let's go into Photoshop, and paste that in. And you can see those are pretty similar, right? So here's from Firefly. But basically, Firefly is already running in Photoshop thanks to Generative Fill and this generative layer. So there we have it, sort of our first one created in Photoshop, the one created in the browser. And I just encourage you to use Firefly as your cheat code over here, because we can make this a synthwave. Let's go to all, like a steampunk synthwave. I can check all of these and click generate, and it adds those to the prompt and will give me something entirely different, right? So, but just consider using these to get these cool looks, right? So I could do the same thing in Photoshop. I can say synthwave, steampunk, maximalism, if I wanted to go that route. And really your challenge today is to take this original file and just get crazy with it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, back to this example. If we go in here, steampunk, synthwave, maximalism. There was another one in there, but we'll just click generate and we'll just have some fun with it doing something new. Yeah, Ted, I'll never stop generating. You can't make me stop. Look, so there we are. Boom, boom, boom. Super fun. All right, so that was just based on a blank canvas. Cool. And just adding prompts. I'm now going to go to our starter file. Okay. Now, yes, I can build a lot of projects, and I just can't get enough of this. This is the only thing holding me back is time. But let's take something like this. And you might have a photo that you only have a glimpse of it, right? It's a vertical image, and I want to make it horizontal. So our goal is to make a different size, right, for Instagram. So we're going to click here, and we can do a sort of 1024 by 1024. Or what we could do is we could do 1024, if I type all that in, 24 by 1350. That is, an Instagram size. It's like this. So let's try that. We'll extend this out nice and big. Holding down the Option key will drag it out from the center. So I can make this much bigger, like this size. And so I've added to the canvas that many pixels, right? All of those pixels. Now, you ready for this? I need to fill this whole area with Generative Fill is what I'm going to use. So how would I do that? You could do this a number of ways, but I usually just use my marquee tool, select the inside, and then this is why I love this contextual bar. It took some getting used to for me because I'm so used to the shortcuts, but then I realized, oh, I don't have to show you this long path to get to invert selection. That's all I want to do is click right here, invert selection. Now it selects the outside, and that's what I want to fill. So what do we do with generative fill? Rather than typing something in here, we're going to click generate. Click right there. It's going to go do its work. I can take a sip of my delicious iced coffee here. Oh, yeah, it's so good. Oh, yeah, in a very quiet manner. Yeah, exactly, Ted. It's incredible how long it takes to create one of those, yet alone all those different variations. But here we are. We have the size that we want. We have a bigger image. And if we take a look at the properties panel, we get 3 other versions. So we can click and click like that. I like this middle one. I like this middle one that has this like foreground right here, which is awfully nice. But again, we went from here to here. All right. Can you use generative fill to replace the skin or texture of a car to wrapper of candy bar wrapper as a reference? So you sounds like you want to do like texture of a car, maybe turn a car into a candy bar. Yes. I mean, yes, you could do it. Now, the problem with candy bars is that's a lot of sort of IP restricted content. So if you're looking for Reese's peanut butter cups, it's not going to do Reese's. It's going to give you probably going to give you some generic bar. Okay. All right, let's talk about something else. Because as we take a closer look at this, and by the way, this isn't that high a res, but what I would advise you to do is it's always going to return, it's going to return like a sort of basically 1,000 by 1,000 pixel like pixels. Square pixels. So it's going to just return this block of pixels. So if you are kind of filling a large area, I would encourage you to do it in just pieces. So you can select this side. So if this was like a high res image that I wanted, I would do this side first. Generate. Give me those 1,000 by 1,000 pixels right in here. So do left side, right side, top, bottom. Do it in pieces so you get that higher resolution if you need that higher resolution, right? So that's what I just did there. I just did this little piece, and we can take a look at it as well. So keep that in mind if you want to go higher res. But again, I think this is good. Now we get to just have some fun right in here. It actually kind of looks like there's a boat clear over there. Maybe that's just maybe a little bit of red, but that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I would love to add a boat in here. Okay, so still using my marquee tool, I'm just going to select, and maybe it's a ship, maybe it's a tourist ship. The big thing here is to be mindful of what is big. Be mindful of sizes. All right, so if I'm looking at this and maybe I want a canoe in here, I want to do something that's drag out a marquee that's going to be the size of a canoe, right? So you're controlling the size. And then right in here, I can type in boat. Canoe, boat, kayak, cruise ship, whatever you want. Click generate. It'll go through and generate whatever you type in. Just super fun. That's some beautiful water for sculling. What is sculling? I don't know what that is, Carol. Help me out. Paddleboard. Yeah, try all that stuff. But look at what it does. Like, it's like, hey, you know what? I know you want a boat. Not only a boat that matches that perspective, that gives me a reflection of the water and gives me different versions. Come on now, people. That's so good. That is so impressive. Look at that. Oh, I love it. Kind of like this metallic one. From here, we could put people in here or whatever. We could have more fun with this. So your challenge today is to expand out that scene. So we started here, expand this out, and start adding content to this particular image, right? I can do something else. Like this could be a boat, and then I can consider doing another. Actually, let's turn off that boat for now. Let's do this. Take this huge area, and let's do a crashed metallic gigantic space ship that just crashed in the lake. So that's what I'm typing in there. Clicking generate, added gigantic, large, huge, adding as much detail as I want and having it go through and generate what I typed in there. Can it be used for perspective correction? You know, there are perspective tools in Photoshop, so I don't know if you need to be honest with you. We have perspective warp if you need to correct something. So I don't know if I'd use Generative Fill to do that, but it's a great question. So here's our crashed spaceship. Here's another one. And again, it's kind of cool how it's like, yeah, looks like it's actually in there. And I really like this one. I like the light of it. There's some weird parts right here. And if you ever have a weird part that you don't like, let's take these two pieces. And let's just go Generative Fill. Anytime you keep it blank, it's going to remove. Okay? So that's what I'm doing right here. It might remove it. It might actually fill it with this area because it might not, it doesn't know that I'm trying to remove. And I almost wonder if there was a remove tool button like there. But anyway, so it removed that. And there we are. And we actually have different versions of that. But now we have sort of our crashed spaceship and some things that we can add to it. Now, this is really cool. I want to add some more up top because this is looking just kind of blank and just kind of, I don't know, it's not dramatic at all. So right up here, I'm going to do Generative Fill and add some clouds. I could say cumulus if I want to, whatever you want to do. Throw some clouds up there. Yeah, the third one does get a little Star Wars, huh? So we'll just generate some clouds up there. Just add. There we go. That looks good. Now, what do we have out here? That's a good question as well. We have this spot. And what I'd like to do is make it look like this was just discovered by someone. So since I have this ground, I'm going to select this area. This is going to be larger. And this is really important, by the way, because when I generate content, I want to make sure I'm just like kind of at the topmost layer. And I want to be mindful that I really want to pick the correct ship because it's going to start adding the, it's going to take a piece of this ship if I'm trying to generate something on top of it. So you'll see what I mean in a second. We'll do hiker back to camera. I'm not even sure if back to camera works. It should. I've done it before, so it better work. But anyways, we want to make it look like it was discovered by a hiker. Yeah, spell check in Photoshop can be handy now for the first time. Tell me about it. I mean, I didn't go to art school to spell. Okay, there we are. Yeah, I like this one. Varying levels of so that works. We can go with this guy. Now let's take a closer look at this stuff. This is what I meant. Now let me just turn off this stuff. This ship, if I decide to change the ship, look what happens. Because this hiker actually included part of that ship. So each one of these layers has a mask. And really the whole image, if I right click and say disable layer mask, this is the whole thing that was generated, right? That's everything that was generated from my call to, for Generative Fill. So, okay, so this brings up the point of like, what if I want to move this character? How do I move this character around if I want to maybe put them a little bit more centered because they're not quite looking at that ship? Well, this is where I would, I'll show you what I would do, is I would, how we turn this into a long process. This is what I would do. You guys ready for this? You guys are smart enough. You guys get how this stuff works. So I'm going to take this layer and I would convert it to a smart object. Convert it to a smart object. Now, that generative layer is still in there, right in here, right? There it is, bing, bing, bing. Right? So it's kind of hidden away in this smart object, which is technically a separate PSD. But what's nice about this is I can, with that selected, look at my contextual menu. Right in here, I'm just going to do a remove background. I'll turn off that other stuff. Remove background. So what I do is I do a convert to smart object, remove background. Right? Background's still there if we do a disable layer mask. It's still there. But now I have the flexibility to move this hiker, around and position, say, like so. All right, so that's all I'm doing. So that's how you can end up with large files. That's right. That's actually a very good point when it even comes to generative content, because each time we generate something, it's like it creates 3 different layers. So look at each generative layer, just multiply that times 3, and you can see how your file will get pretty big. All right, so I have this so far. This is one crashed spaceship. But what happened is this one spaceship crashed. They have another spaceship that is looking for this one. So instead of using the rectangular marquee tool, what I can also do, and which you could always try, is just use the lasso tool, and you can actually just kind of draw out a shape and say, we'll even type in some more here. We'll get a little bit more robust. High GHLI, detailed steampunk chrome spaceship. Generate. And it's always going to fit it within that shape. Again, you just got to make sure you're on the topmost layer, because I've made that mistake before, just FYI. But go ahead and generate that content. Yes, Ted, great call. So Ted does mention that. Ooh, I like this spaceship. Okay. And the reason I was doing Chrome is because I want to show it reflecting the environment. See, it actually is kind of reflecting the earth down below, and it gives me the nice blue sky, which is so cool. Same process. What did we learn? Well, we can convert this to a smart object, just like Ted's talking about. And then for that layer, remove background. And now I have this ship isolated, and I can move it around all I want and make a cool fleet, maybe shrink it down. But the key thing is I got that spaceship. I'd actually adjust the transparency to maybe it looks like it's further back in the atmosphere. Do something like that. And there that is. Super fun. Promo poster for Outlander 2? Sure. It's just so cool. I could make it kind of come from, that would be nice if it was coming from behind the mountains, right? I just have so much fun here, but I only have a couple minutes left. But heck, now's my chance to do something fun. So heck yeah, I'm doing it. Let's go to these 2 images. Smart object. This is now my background. Let's take a look. There's my spaceship. Okay. There's my spaceship. For my background, Command J, 2 layers. Let's get nuts. Let's have some fun, right? I would do a quick selection tool. You guys can do whatever you want. Quick selection tool, invert it, mask it, shabam. Now I have my mountains. And now I have my sky and my mountains. And then here's the spaceship. And then here's the guy. And then here's the clouds. And then there's that spaceship. And we'll put that spaceship underneath there. The mountains. Boom. Flying spaceship. And now we have it behind there. And it's like coming out of there. It's like, he's like, oh, shoot, I just discovered this spaceship. And then this other buddy's coming around the corner, and then they're going to be chasing me. And it's a whole storyline just for fun. When you're done, just go ahead and do, I'm just going to do export as whatever you want, but just make it smaller. Just be mindful of the size, because look at how big it got. So we'll do maybe 1,000 pixels wide, or since I was for social 1024 for social media, and export that out and then post it to good old Discord, right? Just like it says right in here on the page that we're working on. Share your work to Discord, and we'll take a look at it. But this is just day one generative fill. There's a good chance we could be working with more generative fill, just so you know. But that's my version, and you guys get it. And I just appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this lovely Tuesday. Hopefully you guys appreciated this as much as I appreciate you and your positivity. It's a great start to my week. Thank you so much, everybody. Jennifer, Patrick, Julia, Annika, Afrosia. Guys, appreciate all of you. Stick around. We got Illustrator challenge coming up next with Andrew, which is awesome. Thanks, everybody. Bye.